Some women tell their stories with words. Nourah tells hers through movement. As an internationally recognized belly dancer, she carries herself with such grace that you'd never guess the challenges she's faced. Her journey is one of dedication, artistry, and following your heart. And I knew I had to capture that in her surprise portrait. I painted her in her favorite costume with the background inspired by the desert. Today, I'm sharing her story.
My name is Nourah, and I am a studio owner and founder of Dance Hub Toronto. I'm also an international belly dance artist and performer.
Yes. What had you go into belly dancing?
Well, it started with the iconic Shakira. She became quite popular when I was about 11 years old, and I would meet with my best friend after school. We would do some homework and also watch her videos and practice or try to copy some of her moves. And I was always mesmerized. She was really confident, powerful, beautiful, and she was Colombian like me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was quite inspiring to see somebody from my country being able to do this dance so well. Later, I discovered that her dad is Lebanese, but it was still very, very inspiring. And after that, like after a few years, I started to take some classes, and I got more and more into it. And it wasn't just the moves; I was really pulled by the rhythms and the drums and the Arabic language. I just found it really, really beautiful, and I felt this connection with it, despite growing up with Latin dance and salsa and all of this. I always felt more connected to like Arabic music and belly dance.
Interesting. How old were you when you started?
I fell in love with Shakira. I was about 11, but I started classes formally at the age of 19. So I was quite shy during my adolescence, and I felt I was not ready to. I wasn't feeling sensual, or I didn't want to do any of these moves,
Mm-hmm.
and I was focusing mostly on school.
Mm-hmm.
But after I moved to the States and eventually came to Canada, I found a studio and I started to take some classes there. It was quite fun.
That's so interesting. I really thought, and I'm sure many people think this about you, that you must have started when you were like 3 years old or 4 years old
Not at all.
because of how, like, now you're traveling the world, you opened up your own dance studio. So I just assumed, must have been from a young age, but you actually started later in life.
Yes, later in life, and it was all driven by passion. I fell in love with belly dance because it's such a welcoming style. It allows people of all ages, all body sizes to feel comfortable with the dance. I like to associate it with the four elements. So for me, it's fire because it gives you that uh like inner power. It makes you feel like very, very energetic, and you have some of that heart rate up, and it just feels like the fire inside. But it's also very connected with earth. There are a lot of moves where you feel grounded. And at the same time, it has a lot of other moves that flow like water.
Mm-hmm.
So in one body, you can have all of these different elements at the same time. And air goes in there as well because we have a lot of moves inspired in ballet, which make you feel like you're free on space, like flowing and so on. So I think it's a really, really beautiful dance that anyone could perform. Like anyone can be part of.
Yeah.
So it was just once a week. Eventually became twice a week, and I got more into it. I became part of the student troupe, then the agency, and it all changed when I became a performer. So I started to perform at birthdays and restaurants, eventually weddings and top events, and it became a huge part of my life for a long time until it eventually led to being my full-time career.
Yeah. Were you thinking you're going to go into belly dancing as your career?
Oh no, never.
No.
No, I always saw it as my hobby or something that I really loved and enjoy. And when I started to perform, it was amazing to earn money doing something that I loved and bringing people all this energy. But I never considered it my career. I was always afraid that I, w- I didn't want to depend on my body to earn a living. So I wanted to have a stable job and then do this on the side.
Mhm. So what made you make the switch? Like, what made you pursue international dancing, open of your own studio?
Yeah, I was working a 9 to 5 job first as facilities coordinator, and I also studied computer systems and networking. So I moved into an IT position, and I was there for about 2 years until my contract ended, and I went back home just to reconnect with family, to think what I wanted to do. My plan was to come back to Canada and find a job in IT and continue working in the corporate life and performing at different venues on the weekends. But life had something different for me. So upon my return, a good friend of mine who used to dance, who used to take classes with me, she offered me the opportunity to take over her business because she was moving back to Japan. So she had been running this studio for 2, 3 years. And at first, I was really scared, but decided to take a leap. And I continued renting the studio she was renting at the time. And I retain about 50% of her students. Some of them just wanted to take classes with her only, which is understandable. But through marketing, I started to get my own students and eventually hired another instructor, and it continued growing from there. At the same time, I went to Egypt for training and I got offered some work opportunities at some of my dream places. So, for those who don't know, Egypt is the motherland of belly dance. Everything happens there. The best music, the movements, it traces back to golden era and all these wonderful dancers that you see in black and white movies who inspired a lot of us now. And Egypt has tons of festivals and tons of work opportunities. There are lots of shows on a regular basis in everything. And it's also quite popular to have belly dancers in weddings because they start up the party. They inspire everyone to get up and dance.
For sure.
So I came across some opportunities while I was there. I performed at some venues, and a lot of people was pursuing me to stay there. And although it was quite tempting because I felt I could build like a really, I could become a star there. I could build my name and become quite famous. Some belly dancers are treated like very famous actresses there. It's just something that doesn't happen here. But over there is if you're a very top star belly dancer, they consider you a star and you can earn a lot of money, recognition, people love you. But it just felt that this was not the path I wanted to pursue. I wanted something else. I wanted to have, again, a steady business, and I wanted to be with my students and help other people grow, which is difficult to do in Egypt. You can be definitely an amazing performer, an artist, and everyone will look up to you. But when it comes to teaching, it's just different. It's different to have like regular classes and a studio and so on. So I felt there was more for me here in Canada,
Wow.
and I decided to come back and work harder to make this business grow.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned and you shared online that you feel like Dance Hub has been the biggest accomplishment of your life, which is pretty big because I think internationally dancing and everything you've done in your career so far is really huge. Why do you say that this is the biggest so far? So far.
I think it's because it's where I have put most of my effort, my time, my passion. I have made so many sacrifices to be where I am today. Um, a lot of missed holidays, performing and dancing, and all of these things help build my name, and it has helped me get where I am right now. And having Dance Hub, it's really hosting a space for everyone to feel like I once felt as a student, to have a place to connect, to unwind, and for creativity to flow. So at this space, we offer more than belly dance. We offer collaborations, we have other styles of dance, and it's really amazing to see people developing their own businesses in here. So we rent the studio for other studios that they don't have a physical space at the moment, and they're growing their classes, they are developing their own things. So it's more than just about me.
What beliefs or habits did you have to let go of in order to get to where you are today?
Some limited beliefs I had were that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't have enough experience to teach or to run a studio. And I have found along the way that students don't seek perfection. They really want a space where they feel welcome, appreciated. Of course, they want their instructor to be knowledgeable. And I work hard for that. I train constantly. But they also want to smile, they want to laugh, they want to relax. And, I have discovered that I could do this without focusing too much on the limited beliefs that I had. I also felt for a long time that because I'm not from a Middle Eastern culture, I could not do justice to the dance. I always like felt this way. But also realized that I'm very respectful with the dance. I train constantly. When dancing, I make sure I know the lyrics of the songs I'm dancing to. I'm currently studying Arabic, so I do everything I can to properly represent the culture, knowing that it is not mine, but doing so respectfully, and always stating that I'm from Colombia and I love this dance and this is my own interpretation of the dance. And I do it the best I can, again with some Colombian flavor because it's already there. It's just in me. It's not gonna go anywhere, and I'm embracing it now.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to become Egyptian or from a different culture, which I'm not. I love them, and I have many Egyptian friends and so on. So I share a lot of great moments with them, and I feel we share a lot of things in common, like Colombians and Egyptians. But at the same time, I recognize I'm not Egyptian, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay dancing and doing the best I could.
I also want to ask also about misconceptions about belly dancing and what belly dancing can help women with.
Mhm. Well, there's a misconception of it being only a sensual dance, or you see all of this Hollywood movies, and the belly dancer is uh, almost naked and like dancing in a very, very sexy way, which is a misconception. So it is a sensual dance, but it can be a lot more than that. I remember reaching out to the Down Syndrome Association years ago because I really love people with Down syndrome. My uncle has Down syndrome, my cousin does too. And they are really, really wonderful. So my plan years ago was to offer them some classes. I reached out. I told them I was offering some free classes, and I told them a little bit of what I do, and they rejected me. They said the they believe the parents of children with Down syndrome would not be comfortable if I was teaching them belly dance. And I said it's more than that. I can teach coordination, mobility. It doesn't have to go that way. Like, not necessarily. We could, but it doesn't have to be. And it was quite frustrating, but it just left me with the dream of eventually offering something for not only people with Down syndrome, but also with um, disabilities in general. I was at an event once in a restaurant, and there was this this lady with Down syndrome, and she got up to dance, and she was following through, and she was dancing like really, really beautifully. And um, I wish people could see it as more than just a sensual dance, but also as a way to express and to have fun.
Yeah.
You know,
How can belly dancing help people physically, mentally, emotionally?
finally convinced my mom to start taking the classes, and she has already told me how it is improving her flexibility, her coordination, and it just makes you more aware because you're listening to the music and you're trying to match the music with your like with body moves.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to express. So there's so much involved in just dancing in general, but Arabic music has a lot of wonderful rhythms and changes, so you can be as grounded as possible with shimmies, for example, which is a move I'm going to show you later, or you can feel very flexible through other moves like it has a lot of flowy moves as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's wonderful, and we try to make it fun for students. We add all sorts of props. We dance with veils, so it goes to more than just body movements with combined with props, like with different accessories, and so on. So I think it's a really really beautiful dance that anyone could perform, like anyone can be part of.
Awesome. Do you want to show me then? Well, like one simple move.
Yes,
Maybe
yes, let's do that. All right, so we're gonna start with the basic belly dance posture. So feet are hip width apart. Okay, knees are straight but relaxed at the same time. Pelvis tucked in. Excellent. Chest down here, and we're just gonna start alternating the hips. Just here, down, 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 down. Exactly. Focusing on the hip going down. And slowly start speeding that up a little bit. Yes. And trying to move more of those hips. Exactly. Just like this. And arms up. Excellent. Very nice.
Nourah embodies true beauty on the inside and out, not just in dance, but in life. Through everything she's gone through, she's found a way to rise with grace and courage, and that's what this portrait represents. The desert-inspired background reflects her inner strength, passion, and ability to thrive no matter the conditions. Just like the sands shift but never lose their beauty, she continues to evolve and inspire. If her story spoke to you, share this with someone who needs a reminder to follow their heart.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Beautiful.
That's your costume.
Yes, it's a lavender costume. I can recognize it in the butterfly. Oh, thank you so much, so much.